What is up, guys? So today I can finally present myself once again live and in full blown color. Prove to you guys that I'm still alive despite everything. But today I wanted to discuss something that I don't think I have ever really discussed before. I know that I have made topics about pets, but I don't think we have discussed the more serious, perhaps depressing, and dark side of it. And that has to be the people who simply lack empathy for pets or do not understand how pets work or are supposed to work. Well, I have had the experience in which I have had people share a residence with me, and I am the owner of a pet, and for some reason, these people do not have the patience or tolerance that you're supposed to have for pets. And I always wondered why. What part about it do you not get? How can you not coexist with a living being who thinks a little differently from you, but has just about the same necessities as you? They need food, shelter, water, a safe home, warmth, etc., etc. Well, when I was a kid, I had an episode that I will never forget in which I was that person. I was the person who I let out my stress on animals. And I was like 9 years old, and we had this one cat that to this day I still remember vividly and I will never forget because it will haunt me forever. I don't know what it was, but my pain tolerance as a kid was so low that this little cat that we had a tendency of rejecting me. For some reason, this cat didn't like me. He didn't want to play with me. He didn't want to. He was cool with my cousin and my brother, but he was never cool with me. And I resented that. I'm like, mother effer, you little piece of shit. I'm like, right here. I can play with you. I'm equally as cool, equally as awesome. I'll probably love you more. Why are you rejecting me? Why are you turning away from me? Why are you not as cool with me as you are with these two? And then there was a time in which I was having like a really terrible time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know my home life was not the greatest. And I remember that one day I was really stressed out and I let my anger out on that little cat. And I was like, so frustrated. I was like, oh, you're so like mean to me. You reject me so much and I hate you and this and that. And then when he would bite me, like I had a tendency of wanting to react and defend myself, and then I struck him a few times out of that frustration. And I'm like, in the same manner that humans defend each other against violence toward each other, I'm going to defend myself from someone who's hurting me or something that's hurting me. But then when it was discovered that I had done that, adults in my life sat down with me and they said, that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. You should never physically be aggressive toward anything that is alive. Of course, unless it is self defense, but in this case, you are dealing with a creature who does not rationalize things in the manner that you do. So, therefore, that is not the proper behavior to have. And of course, I had to suffer the consequences for that. I got grounded, I got punished, I got all kinds of things that I only remember my, let's say, gaming privileges, since I loved it so much back then. That was taken away from me. But at the time, it seemed like dark and bleak and frustrating. But now that I'm older, it's like that's what it took for me to grasp that that was wrong. And the good thing about me has been that as soon as I am coached about something, you have to tell me things just one time. And after you tell me things that one time, that is what I remember for the rest of my life. And to this day, I still apply that because I have never, unless I am caressing or playing with or cuddling with a pet, I do not touch them in any other way, you know? And then I'm thinking, why is it that there's people out there who do not get it? And to this day, I will still meet people who are in my really close personal social circle who do not understand how my pet works. What is so difficult about it? So I had discovered that I have had pets that while I was away, they were being mistreated. And not necessarily physically. I hope to God that it wasn't physically because I will be the one to begin physically inflicting damage upon whomever did this. But behave a certain way. Like, why is it that as soon as I would arrive home, you would fly over to me and meow and be all over me and be crazy about me? Like, you have this attachment, and I'm like, this is simply a pet who loves me. But no, because my pet's behavior began to change. They were not eating at around the same times that they were supposed to. They were producing their biological functions outside of their designated area. And simply, my pet, as I knew them, they were starting to be different. And I said, this deserves to be looked into. This deserves some investigation. And then I finally confronted the individual who I believed was inflicting this very clearly. And then I discovered that I was right all along. And I felt a grand sense of pride knowing that I understand my pet's language. But at the same time, I wanted to be mad at myself because I couldn't do anything to have prevented that entirely. But at the same time, I am not the idiot who does not know how to interact with a pet. I'm not the person who is struggling to understand what it's like to live with a furry friend, and I am not the one who needs help, leadership, or coaching in that department. But still, to know that that happened, and it happened to one of my furry family members, it still infuriates me because it's like I work so hard to give this little creature the best possible life that they can have from the moment that they're like really, really, really small. And then you go over here and ruin it, and you're not even someone who's like a long term member of the residence, you know? Or you're just here as a person who's just passing by. That really, really tries me. It really, really gets under my skin. And now the worst part about it is that it wasn't even my direct intervention that resolved the situation. I had to get someone exterior to pretty much complain to, and then this person would be the one to make the move of speaking to the perpetrator, and then they finally would admit that what they were doing was wrong. And I'm like, if you were able to admit to this person who's from the outside that what you were doing was wrong, why on God's green earth did you not stop as soon as I warned you about it? It's, I guess it's one of those things where it depends who you are in society, what you are to a person, and that will determine how seriously someone takes you. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be, if someone points something out to you that you're doing wrong, you need to respect that, and you need to like remedy yourself. You need to fix your conduct immediately. But for some reason, you need to wait for things to get as bad as it can get to then attempt to start changing. No, there's just no justification, no excuse for that. So, anyways, you guys, that pretty much concludes my rambling on this matter. I know it's pretty vague, but this is just to begin the conversation about people who just do not get how to live with a pet and how you need to be careful about what you consider is a method of discipline for a pet because you may be doing more harm than good. And in my personal experience, you know how humans tend to get frustrated, and when you get frustrated, what you do is yell, make noises, make stomping noises, etc. Well, when you do that, just know that you are making the animal associate you as an individual who is aggressive, and they will constantly have their guard up. and that they will begin to exhibit that, if not physically towards you, they will be vocal about it, and also they will use their biological product and simply spread it out in places in the house that you would not expect. So just be careful about you trying to treat them like they are humans. Like humans, if you yell at them or shout at them, they get intimidated and they immediately may be less likely to want to commit the infraction. But if you do that to an animal, some of them will simply associate that with you being aggressive, and then you will generate psychological problems in that animal, that to resolve them it will be very draining, and some pets never recover from that stuff. And I'm just saying that I get upset when that happens to me because I work so hard to give my pet the best life, and then you come over here and within a couple of weeks ruin years of my progress. So, anyways, you guys, I would love to hear any stories that you might have, any thoughts that you might have. Why do you think people are this way? Do you think we should have courses in school that teach you how to have animals, how to deal with pets? I think so, because clearly we're not raising kids to know how pets work, or maybe parents themselves may not have been taught how to do that. And then you think that having an animal is just this furry creature that's going to sit down next to you all the time. No, you need to work with this pet to get them to have the best personality possible. And even then, there are some pets that just never change. Like when I had Nero, he was antisocial from the moment I met him until the moment that he was gone, you know? So, like, just be more responsible about it, because it's just not fair on the person who owns the pet and also on the pet themselves. It's not fair that they have to suffer because of your ignorance. So, you guys, I would love to hear stories from you. And hello, John, and thank you, Philip, for the compliment. All right, you guys, well, I'm going to bail for the moment, but I should be back pretty soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.